Hey Divine Stardust. It's Andy Murphy, host of your Cosmic Mama podcast. As today, for episode number 65, we're doing a solo cast. After I introduce you to my special guest. That right there? That right there? Yeah. In this way of humaning, detox, release. And I've got some notes for today because what they want to bring in is very specific because, hey, I've been talking about tapping into this new resource, this new place of joy, this new place of purpose and pleasure. And you might be like, what the fuck is she talking about? It's cool. We've been talking about the new templates and this pivot back into purpose. And so today I'm going to be reconnecting you, getting you on those new templates, making sure they're activated in your body, and talking you lovingly through some compassion. Cool? You wanna? If you wanna. Cool. We're gonna do what we do here. Light a bowl, light a joint, light a candle. Bring yourself into the warmth, the ease, and the sweetness of you as we get inside with episode number 65 of the Cosmic Mama podcast. Oh, hey, look, it's still me. I didn't even need to cut screen there. Happy is cool again. And that's what we're going to be bouncing off of today. Happy is cool again. But first, let's open up some sacred space. When we open sacred space, the purpose is to let ourselves remember what we are. To move ourselves out of this mundane worker bee, mom, parenting mode. To recognize the dishes can sit in the sink for a little bit longer because you need something sweet. Because you are something sweet. So allow your breath to deepen. Allow yourself to feel your heartbeat in these currents of energy. Outside of the noise. Allow yourself to dip beneath the perceptions into something more ancient and true. Co-regulate. Allow your nervous system to come into peace. Allow the hope to dissipate. As you find yourself in the beauty of the now. Did you find something sweet of you in there? I hope so. It's always there. Sweetness. It's a word that I probably live. I live a lot of sweetness. I like a lot of sweetness. Hey. You're allowed to be happy again. And kind of fuck happiness. And kind of fuck hope. Because these last few years have been so deeply traumatizing and so confusing. And you're allowed to be angry. So I want to just start there with, you're allowed to be angry. It was confusing. It was scary. Traumatic, yes. And perhaps you faced lots of death. Perhaps you faced lots of distortions in what you thought was true or knew to be true. Thanks. They'd like to address the fear first. That fear that put us into our mammalian brains. Is that a word? The mammal brain? Hey, right there. Fight or flight. The fear that was so loud and so predominating. The fear that even if you didn't feel it, you would have other people tell you that you should feel it. I'm smiling at that because that was my experience. I wasn't feeling the fear, but I had a lot of other people who loved me who told me how naive I was to not feel the fear. Okay. If you've been around this any amount of time, this being whatever the hell this experiment of Andy Murphy incarnation is, this new evolution of Andy Murphy incarnation, you heard me fucking from the front lines all of the last 3 years talking. So I don't need to rehash with you how traumatizing, how gaslighting, how harrowing, how heartbreaking my experience was. I know that. I talked about it. Even when I probably shouldn't have. Even when I wish I wouldn't have. Because it's embarrassing to an ego. You know that, right? Vulnerability is not something I aspire to be. It's my way of transparency of I don't need to hide from myself. I don't need to hide from you. If this vibrates with you, fucking grand. Thanks. I need to do some rows. We're going to be talking, thanks. Well, you know, I've got a couple of things coming up, right? Do you know about that? Joy is Your Destiny is our March collective activation mini Akashic Mystery School. And then the La Rosa Radiante is our retreat happening in April. And with both of these things, I'm not selling you joy. Fuck that. I'm reporting instead and bringing you home to truth. To a thing that you weren't allowed to be, perhaps, in the last few years. No, thank you. This would start with the fear. Thank you. We'll go to fear. We'll go to anger. I hope I can remember that. I'll write it down. You know, each time I write things down, this goes a little wiggly. And so you may watch it and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, it just wobbles. As reality does, it wobbles. Reality isn't fixed. You do know that, right? Like primary principle of why I work in the Akashic, why I teach the Akashic. Because none of this around you is real. Collective consensus. We all are told, oh, this is the way it is. We all think that's the way it is, and we participate. And then those of us who know other keys were like, what the fuck are they all doing over there? They will recognize you by your radiance. That's one that I love. But I also can't tell you, like, when that came in, because I don't know the difference between 2021 and 2022. Seriously? Like, if I try to go back and remember things, I'm like, I don't know. Oh, thanks. In that grand experiment, they also showed us time doesn't exist. Nope. Broken. Done. Cool. So the invitation that I want to share with you is like, you can come home to your joy and passion and purpose now. Pleasure is going to be some of the way that you find your way home to you. The fear threw you out of your knowingness and dysregulated a fucking nervous system. Because now we're all talking about nervous systems, aren't we? Wow. Thanks. Having been awake my whole life, having been aware of conspiracy theories and earth changes and what the Hathors are channeling in through Tom Kenyon, and the list goes on and on. Oh my God, do any of y'all remember What's Up on Planet Earth? I think Karen was her name. And she was doing a newsletter back in the day. We were bracing for something for a long time. And there was a lot of fear in all of that new age propaganda. As I found and anchored through others. I don't know that I could anchor through myself in that little blip of 3 years. Jessa Reed. Oh, bless you, Jessa. She became a voice that made sense to me, and I could tether through to find something underneath in the reality. My experience I was angry. Not scared. I was angry because there became like very different realities, and depending upon which side of reality you were on, there was a lot of disconnection, there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of projection, there was so much fucking blaming. And I need you to recognize that that wasn't your plight. That was the one that was being programmed and told to you. It became very us versus them, right? And if they would do the right thing, this wouldn't be happening. Wow, y'all. Angry. You're allowed to feel all of it. But where we're inviting you now, where we're reminding you now, you can stay stuck in it, or you can recognize, I know, and we've been talking about this. We've been talking about this from December 2021. December 2022. See, I still do it, right? From solstice of 2022 up until we got to that new moon in Aquarius. That's the only noise that I can make with it, because it really does feel like something fluttered through us. Waves. Not just of potentiality, but waves of disseminated truth that began to like move out. You know, when you watch the sand at the bottom of an ocean and then you can see the stillness, like that's been a little of what I've been experiencing. My February, oh fuck y'all, and I'm sure that some of you are feeling it too, non-stop. Non-fucking stop. And yet, oh thanks, it's not gonna stop. This, as all of the planets are going retrograde, because I know just a tiny bit about astrology, this as we are moving back into a redefined timeline, if you will, time stream, as Thoth prefers. It's not a line because it's not linear. It's a stream of time. The beauty through the Akashic is like, just live in the now. And when you're in the now, you've got joy. When you're in the now, you've got total freedom to make any choices that you want, because you'll feel what you know to be true. We're going to be doing a ton of that in Joy is Your Destiny. Thanks. I'm not here to talk necessarily about either of those things. I'm here to remind you that when you're like, fuck that bitch, who thinks we can be happy right now? I do. In that frequency of now, there's so much energy. Because it's just you knowing what's you. It's just you making choices for what's you. So the stuckness is problematic. Some of what I have been playing with is what Gay Hendricks would call the upper limit problems. I'm not having the same problems that I used to. Those have all... they'll snake back up as necessary. But what I'm encountering now is new problems. I've never done that before. I may have somebody who is calling herself the rock and roll shaman that is not me. I've never had that problem before. What the fuck are we going to do about that? I won't say too much more because I don't know how it's going to play out. But at this moment, I have sent a message from the place of centeredness and love that I am, of like, hey, can we seek some resolution here? That's a new problem for me. What? Huh? So I've been playing with this idea that I want to convey to you, which is they're scared and they're stuck. Stuck means you're looping in something you've been in before. You don't know how to move and you're stuck in it, and it's the same and it's the same and it's the same and it's the same. Scared means, oh shit, I don't know how. Okay, cool. If you're in your stuckness, I want to invite you to move into the scared. It's a good place to be, because the scared is going to get you some momentum, at least, to make choices that are more aligned for who you are and where you want to be. The truth of this reality is that joy is your destiny, is that radiance is your currency. I don't know if I've talked about this already, but thanks, because I do find myself like repeating at times, because my brain doesn't work the way it used to. And for one whose ego was very attached to being the good girl and getting good grades and being very smart, it's kind of weird. I don't remember anymore. Oh, thanks. I don't remember those things on this plane because it's inconsequential. I'm anchoring into something deeper, ancienter, older, truer of what I'm asked to do. But my friend Kendra was my editor over at Gaia. And when I was writing, I wrote 30 articles over at Gaia there between 2016, 2018, 2019, time, whatever. And the one article that I wrote about my twin flame, she said to me, "You write about love better than you do anything else." I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? And as she and I have reconnected, because we did lose each other there for a moment in this reality, as she and I have reconnected, I'm finding that stream again of, oh, wait, I do love really good. My experience back then was only romantic love. I didn't know self-love. I didn't know cosmic love. I didn't know cosmoerotic love. I didn't know the love of the universe that I now participate in. I didn't know. So love, romantic love. Now, love is everything, everywhere, every day, every opportunity to engage. Isn't that cool? So as I recognize let's not even say part. My path is to teach love. I had to learn it first. My path is to remind you of joy. My purpose is to embody radiance, as is yours, as is all of ours, because reality is a currency of joy. Underneath the suffering, underneath the pain, thanks. And there's a desire in me of like, don't want to share too much about joy as your destiny or about the practices of radiance for La Rosa Radiante. And yet they're like, you can't. Because what's going to come through is going to be bigger and deeper than all of that, because that's the nature of fucking mystery schools and initiatory processes. I can't give away too much. So I'm going to forgive myself right there for thinking that I could. I'm one of those souls who didn't have to be here. I'm one of those souls who comes back over and over again to make sure that this thing succeeds. I've had past life memories since I was a kid. I've talked to ghosts since I was a kid. I have seen through the veil. So me landing as shaman, no surprise. Me being writer, that was never anything that I loved. I was good at it, but I didn't know that my good at it meant I loved it. My freshman year of college, one of my professors pulled me aside, Dr. Altamont, and he's like, you're really good at this. And to me, oh my God, he loves me. Approval. That was all that I needed. But in that, there was something else. Cool. I've been told that I have that golden cord. It makes me a very good channel. And I went back the other day. Because this is where I have discretion of like, how much do I want to share? I went back to the other day to some teachings that I was doing in 2021. And I'm sure of that because I had to look at the date. 10/10/21. I don't know who the fuck that woman is. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't remember teaching it. I don't remember channeling it. And it wasn't scary. I was like, fuck, that's awesome. I could learn from a past version of myself. Have you had that experience where you're like, I don't remember that at all? Because I was in high states of trauma and healing. What they're offering right now is that we had so many out-of-body experiences over the last 3 years that we're aligning us better into destiny. And destiny not being fate. Fate is this thing that always happens. Destiny is like, ho, 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 ho. This currency inside of you through the Akashic that when you follow it, everything works. And it's like that instant manifestation, but you're not making anything happen. It just all boop, 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 boop. It aligns. You may call it the flow state because when you're in it, what? You've got crazy coincidences, synchronicities all the time. There's yesterday I was out of the house maybe 15 minutes on the road. 777-111-666-444. Was it 4 of them? I know it was 4 of them that I saw like back to back to back. And I'm like, okay, y'all. That's not us being needy. It's us being in a frequency of truth that is different. And when we pay attention, we can just kind of like boof, drop back into it. If you're over on the Halls of Akasa, thanks. I'm shifting from Patreon over to the Halls of Akasa. That's free for anybody who wants it right now. We're going to change that in April. I have about 6 free teachings for you. And one of those is the Earth Star and Soul Star chakras. They're really good. My experience of that Earth Star chakra, as I said it just now, is like I'm dropping outside of this faux web, this mal matrix of reality, and I'm dropping into a currency underneath it. Hey, where the universe knows who I am, where I know who I am, where I'm flowing with the streams of joy that are true. Because if you knew that everything was good and okay in this world, well, you may not buy as much, you may not work as hard, you may not stay suffering. There's big industry around your suffering. There's big industry around your anger and fear. There's big industry around you being distracted and forgetting all of it. And it's okay because we dip into that at times, right? Yesterday, 2/22. Oh my gosh. I was going to send out this big announcement of Joy is Your Destiny. I was going to go on. We had a snowstorm here. My daughter's sick. I've been a little low energy. I took the day off. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not letting anybody down. I'm not letting myself down. I took a day. That's an act of self-love that we can give ourselves anytime we want. Thanks. I get to find the stream of it. That's kind of how I do it. You know that, right? It's not an up here thing. It's a down here thing where I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me find that again. Yeah. Ooh, cool. There was one mystery school that we taught, and I think it was in Akashic, maybe in 2020. Worry is a program of the future. And suffering is an addiction to your pain. Something like that. But it changed me. Because again, what comes in here and through me at times, I'm like, oh shit, that's good. It's not mine. It's what Holly would call part of the collective. It's collective consciousness. These are just truths that when they drop in, they drop through us. It changes how we move. Changes how we be. Frees us from feeling badly about ourselves or believing that we're doing something wrong. Because as a sensitive being, chances are you have felt that your knowingness was doing something wrong. That your truth was going to hurt somebody. And one of the asks of Joy is Your Destiny, whether you do it or not, so this is why I'm sharing it with you. Like, what happens if you just take a month and choose your joy? Choose what feels good? What happens? You'll learn so much about yourself, where you can do that, where you can't do that, what the issues are, where you back off, where you feel bad, where you feel scared. That one thing could change everything. Way back in the day, what did I call it? I called it being a joy whore. So when I show up here saying that I only show up from joy, that I now live in a place of none of it is work. If it feels like work, like it did yesterday, I'm like, cool, I'll take the day off. I'm not hustling. That's not working for any of us anymore. We get to show up more honestly. And as we all choose to do that, participate in that, society itself changes. I don't need your actions to be revolutionary. I need them to be based in love. and sweetness in choosing you first. And we were taught that that was selfish or self-centered, and that's not the case. It's not the case. You know, there are narcissists out there. They do things that are self-centered. You don't. You're probably healing from one in some capacity, or just realizing. It's a weird program, isn't it? And can I also offer with that narcissist, because, you know, we've got this little dance that we like to be in, the empath and the narcissist. As David Wilcock one time said, the narcissist is just one who got so damaged by the trauma that they had to create like an alter ego to survive. You can't point that out to them. They have to find that on their own. You can set boundaries to not engage and So what's been happening in the last 3 years is you have been on a path of awakening, most certainly, but you've been refined. I know it feels like we have been violently sodomized, and that's a fair word for the last 3 years for most of us. And yet, you were being refined, precious diamond. You went through the rock tumbler of reality. You were initiated back into the freedom to make choices that work for you and not against you. And I can see that for myself. The retreat is the most obvious example. I think I've talked about that. Like, that's a total, whoa, reset back to something. Relationships. Wow, I'm having different relationships in my personal romantic life too. I show up more me than I ever have. I didn't know how to do that before. And it's very easy to feel badly about past mistakes. It's probably why you can go back like, have you fucking seen on YouTube? You can find me in 2012. Oh, baby Andy. You can also find me there in the 2019, 2020 era where I'm 40 pounds lighter. Yeah, there's a journey. And all of it is worthy of your love. And all of it was exactly right. I want to do an activation in here, and I also want, oh, thank you. They're saying it's the same thing. Okay, great. Let's talk about the new templates and the new upgrades. Those have been coming in. They're really going to be hitting, they're saying the mainstream. You probably have been feeling it already because you're a fucking intuitive star being. But it's going to be hitting, they say, the collective as a big blast. There on equinox 2023. Can I get that right? Yeah. That March equinox of 2023. Spring equinox. Springing forward, at least here in our hemisphere. Thank you. It feels like there will be a pressure for the beings who are not receiving that upgrade, and there's going to be a lot more stagnation and dissatisfaction for that population. And you can look through that lens at times. You're like, oh shit, that looks really hard. That doesn't make you an asshole, because you in your light, you in your radiance will illuminate paths out for them into possibilities. So if you're one of those who is an activist and is really like involved with the news, I probably don't know what the fuck you're doing here. How is it helping you feel better? Your awareness without action turns into an addiction to pain. And you will certainly have family members who participate in that. I know that I do. And when we get to those places in a conversation, as I did with my mom recently, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot we don't talk about this. We won't see it the same way. We don't talk about this. I love you. Let's talk about you, because I care so much more about you than I do about what you've seen on the news or what you think is going on. Oh, that's it. I see that. Thank you. That new template is one of heart and one of gut. We're probably going to call that a little bit more of a second chakra, sacral chakra. That's what we're working on Joy is Your Destiny. Joy is Your Destiny. We're going to actually be working through the Ganusa. Have you guys done that in dream school yet? We're going to be turning that on in a different way and harvesting the gold. Do you know why I'm so excited now? You may. Okay. Thank you. So the people who are still living through this lens of like watching reality and perceiving it through a mental field, that's where it all is. Thank you. It's what Barbara Handclough might call the fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is completely programmed, right? We're no longer living in the third dimension. You are a fifth dimensional existence right now. That's fair to say. I don't know when that shift to like 5D ascension. We're in it. Trust that. The fourth dimension is where they can populate things and where they can fuck with your perceptions. Mind control doesn't have to be covert or really fucking gross. It's just kind of obvious, isn't it? It's just kind of obvious. So we're going to make sure that you get this new upgrade right now, and we're going to get there by way of compassion. So if you would like to do an activation with us now, hey, that's what we're moving into. If you don't, it's totally cool. Totally cool. You can tap out right here, and hopefully you got something today that served you exactly right. Oh, I love that. You know, rattles and tools and instruments, each of them has their own story and their own purpose and their own way. I didn't know that for forever. I know that now. So when I reach for this rattle and you saw my face, I love you. I'm in a relationship with everything here. Thank you. I can pick up any crystal and I can tell you the whole story about when I got it, why I got it, how I've used it when it's been charged. Living relationship with. Participating in an Akashic field. I can read the record of that just by touching it. It's not reading anything, but like, I know it. And I love it. Scoliocyte. I never know how to say that right, but oh baby. This rattle, 2019. In 2019, I had the life I thought I wanted. Everything going according to plan. According to plan. I was on the trajectory of where I had always wanted to be. And yet, my soul wasn't fulfilled. And I didn't know that at the time because like, it was just like hitting milestones, right? Got it. It was seemingly everything I wanted. And I can look back now and I'm like, oh, wait, I didn't know it got better. That's where I'm at right now. I didn't know it could be so much better. I thought that was what I wanted. So this rattle from me that I got in Taos, and if you listen to the episode with me and Jen Cordy, yeah, that was that Taos trip. This rattle came in as stabilizing and not dipping again below. Oh, cool. Here's what I want. We're going to stabilize her right there. We don't dip below again. So this is exactly the right one. As we give you this access to the template you've already got access to. I'm just going to make sure you get on it. And we're going to do this by way of coming into heart. Letting all of your energy gather here at heart, whether that's physical heart, whether it's the heart cave, whether it's your energetic heart, whether it's your heart shanka or chakra. There you go. I want you to find yourself in these soft folds of your heart. Maybe like a rose. The petals that hold you, that cleanse you in sweetness and forgiveness. Let every version of you come to you for healing now. The sad one and the mad one. The stuck one and the scared one. The self-righteous one. Ooh, how about that one who denies everything and just hides? Bring all of them into the folds of these petals to receive forgiveness for not knowing better. For denying joy. For trying too hard. If you'd like to use a cacao, you can bring yourself into Ami Nu Maha Karu. 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 And as the softness softens even more with forgiveness, I want you to find yourself drifting down into belly to experience compassion. Oh, compassion is earned from the places of trauma. Compassion is gained through pain. Gather up all of your hard lessons now here in second Shanka, the Ganusa. Just breathing gently or deeply. Allow your belly to show you all of these nuggets of gold, these nuggets of compassion that you have earned from the hard shit you have faced. Ami Nu Maha Karu. Oh, that's funny. They want to mayur it in here. Let's do mayur it. Mayur it. Mayur it. Mayur it. Hala no loku no kukus na ikia na ikia kukus no loku no kukus na I au mayur it. Kana lur no kuku uku shne ikiki na ina akia kiki yau no uku no ku saya aya a. I want you to breathe in at heart and exhale. Second chakra. Inhaling with the Ami Nu Maha Karu, exhaling with the Mayurit. Or intending to do so, because that's just fine, Buttercup. Ooh, there we go. And then reverse it. Inhaling at second, exhaling at heart. You're it. Ami Nu Maha Karu. You're it. Ami Nu Maha Karu. Thank you. And they're asking for you to come into some peace now. They're asking me to stop making noises. Heard? Because I want you to recognize this new matrix, this new template, this new overlay that's coming in between throat and heart, in that area that we would know as high heart. High heart. You might see it like a grid or a matrix, a net that we can move up and down through your body. You're not a strand of it. The entire net moves through you. Good. I want you to move it up and down through your body so that every organ, every cell is being activated with these new time codes, these new time streams, these new possibilities, the Christed consciousness templates and grids. And just let it feel good. Without needing to know how or why. Those are questions of the old mental realm, of the old Mal matrix. Oh, thanks. What's being restored is the true matrix, the mother matrix, the love of Nuit, the blessings of an abundant and bountiful Gaia. That's what you showed up here for? Om Gaia Sa. Om Gaia Sa. Om Gaia Sa. Om Gaia Sa. Give yourself a taste, a droplet of the truest form of Gaia as she rests that golden droplet on your tongue. To reclaim your destiny as the creator being you incarnated here to be. If there's any resistance to joy and bliss in your body, give it that golden droplet. Invite it out of contraction and into expansion, out of perception and into truth. Thanks. They say with these upgrades that we've been receiving, lots of neck troubles, heart troubles for some, that could also feel like lymph nodes at times. So be working with your chiros, be working with your healers, be working with your breath. But heart to throat. Your third eye is always seeing truth. You've just been programmed to deny it. Make a commitment now if it feels okay to not continue denying truth. No matter how uncomfortable it may be, you have all of the love, all of the compassion, and you know that choosing in favor of you will work out for you brilliantly. Na sanai liki no lo no kuno olo kuno sanai iki na laina a or no kuku hai shni iki a ki lor no ku hai na a lo ku shini iki a sini shni sa u kuno usnai la lana ia anaya a sniki. I want you to stay in this for as long as you'd like, receiving and remembering you. Na la uno kuno loshni ikiki na na ikiakiki. Ha no kuno sanai na aya ala o lo kuno sanai ishna iki na idana na iki no no sno kushna i. Thanks. You already had the template. Hopefully we just showed you how to participate in it a little bit differently. That was really sweet, wasn't it? My hands got all hot. Energy was moving differently. Let it feel good, honey. And the places that still want to feel bad, it's okay. They're the ones who are asking for some healing. Work with your therapists, work with your healers, work with your own inner counsel. And know that all of this is a return to love. Thanks for allowing us to be a part of it. I love you. On this and all dimensions, I love you. On this and every reality, I love you. For every fucking version of you who's been cunty, I love you. For every time you learn a boundary, I love you. The other piece that I'll drop in as we finish is in the places that I've been embarrassed of me, because there are plenty. Places where I'm critical or judgmental. Oh, I'm also remembering they're not me. None of us has been this version of me before. I've never been this able to trust myself. I trust me. I trust that I'm not going to behave like an asshole. I trust that I'm going to rise and know how to be in the moment that I need to be. I trust me. And that's radically new. And when I find myself in places of like, I'm scared of, cool, that's a loop. That's the old. I'm in the new. Hold on. If I behave like an asshole, I'll apologize. Final piece story that I'll tell, which is I had neighbors who moved in during 2020. I never fucking said a word to them. She went through her whole pregnancy and now they have a baby. I never said a fucking word to them. And this last week, without intention, I walked outside of my house. I introduced myself and I apologized for not being who I wish I could have been. Wow, what was that? That's cool. She's rad. Whoever the fuck version of me was, that was rad. May you continue to surprise yourself with acts of kindness, with the ease of being, with honoring of truth that always chooses in favor of your joy and pleasure. If you want to hang out with us, well, come down to Mexico. Oh my God. Thanks. You can read all about that and listen to the last 2 podcasts that we did with Holly and Jen. If Joy is Your Destiny is calling to you, well, we've still got that free first Akashic Primer for you for 1 week. March 1st, we get in there. Get in there. I've never been this happy. And everything that I'm being told, it's just the beginning, just the beginning, just a taste. It is just a droplet of what awaits us. Can't wait to do it all with you, baby. I love you. See you next time.